Welcome to the Quantum Health Connection podcast. My name is Heather Crimson. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Vanessa Baldwin. And today I am elated to have a very special guest with us, basically, in my opinion, a legend in the structured water field, who has agreed to join us today to talk all things structured water. And his name is Clayton Nolte. He has Structured Water by Clayton Nolte, and he's a research and development expert in structured water, educating the public about the importance of clean and structured water, the magic of structured water. He has been in this field for over 20 years. And so welcome to the show, Clayton. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to not only connect with you, but with your audience as far and wide as it may be.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. It really is wonderful. And we're so excited to get into water and all the research that you've done. So, tell us why water in the first place. What got you interested in water?
Yeah, my initial interaction with high quality water was I was working in a research facility with a specialized technology that I had was working on developing, and and um, and the people around me kept saying, you need to go out to places where the energy is fresh and new, and explore what your technology can do in that environment. And I happened to be out in the country, actually near a waterfall, and my technology had to do with dimensional shift technology.
Okay, I gotta write that down.
Which basically makes things disappear.
Oh, interesting.
And so a, a waterfall has a lot of different waters within it.
Mm-hmm.
And and if you're going to travel in, let's say, dimensions, uh, it's complicated. I don't even want to really get into it, but I just want you to know uh, that uh, that the elements, or let's say the technology, is based on uh, the truth first off, and that when things are pure and perfect, like structured water appears in all dimensions. Unstructured water does not. It does not appear. So in this waterfall, there were big holes when I was in the environment of my technology.
Yeah, I'm loving this metaphysical aspect.
Complicated.
It's like the spiritual aspect, but this is absolutely something that we embrace on the podcast because we have other episodes that cover the nuts and bolts, and we can address that too of what is structured or what is structured water and how is it different. But I love this approach you're taking here about what are the actual metaphysical properties of structured water. So if you could give us, you said you don't want to go there, but can you just give us a little overview?
The metaphysical, the properties basically are um, the purity of structured water, um, and then a similar energy form would be a mystic, a person who can create, uh, let's say, can change things and people with thought, with mind, with words.
Mhm, mhm,
And I have interacted with all of them. Uh, and I was engaged with a mystic that basically said when I was present with her, she always introduced me as a mystic in training. So,
Mm.
which was a fun journey.
mhm.
It's the ability to make things happen that you know are in truth, and they're there, and they're actually there for every human on this planet.
And we all have that capability and that possibility within us.
Right, exactly. And this is what I'm trying to get at for people. You know, structured water will open you up and make that accessible, but you have to step through the doorway. The 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 key is knowing how to, or let's say being receptive to that you have the capability, no matter what it is. You know, when we're talking about, we can be talking about walking through a wall. The energy that's created to walk through a wall or walk through a door or walk through a mountain basically is identical to the energy of structured water. It's identical to the energy of a mystic in the actual corrections or changes that she envisions need to be done.
So what is it about the quality or well, structure, for lack of a better term, of structured water that allows this to happen or makes it possible?
Well, the quality of structured water basically is that let me take it back a few steps here. To create structured water, initially it's created by vortexing, and the vortex to the right and a vortex to the left. Uh, Everything needs to be in balance. You need the plus and you need the minus. And so in my technology, we have that. We have the constant spin in both directions. And the combination, when they come together, are balanced. So that balance brings a change to one element. It changes the molecular structure of one element. Do you know what the number one element is in the periodic table?
Hydrogen?
You're right, hydrogen. So what structuring does is it makes it potentially you talk about one atom of hydrogen. Structuring it can make one atom of hydrogen perfect. Every atom of hydrogen it comes in contact with is made in its image perfect. When you have perfect hydrogen in the mix, then everything that exists has hydrogen in it. When you change the formula of the formulation to create a table, to create the materials to make a computer, there's hydrogen in every physical thing. And there's also hydrogen in the air. There's hydrogen in everything that exists has hydrogen in it. So if you make the atoms of hydrogen perfect, it changes the formula and thereby makes those elements also perfect. So let's go to water. So hydrogen, if you make hydrogen perfect, hydrogen and oxygen are united in order to create water. And so structuring then, by making the hydrogen atoms perfect. So you have two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. When they come together and hydrogen is perfect, what it does is it changes the way those hydrogen atoms, how they interrelate with the oxygen atom. In other words, it changes the hydrogen bond angle. Now, at your cellular level, your cells have no doorways. They have no openings. They have no ins and no outs. They have no doorways. In order for anything to enter into the cell, it has to be structured. Your heart is pumping blood around and around and around through the heart structuring blood.
Mm-hmm.
Every living thing, the liquid within is structured. It cannot be alive if it were not structured. Basically because structuring allows for the hydrogen bond angle to change sufficiently for the for the blood, for the water, for the food you eat, for the energy to be brought to that place of being able to enter into the cell through the cell wall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jumping around here a lot because this is a technology that is huge. I mean, you could write encyclopedias basically on every detail. But again, do understand that when my technology structures water, it makes hydration instantaneous.
Right.
Whether you're
So
washing your hands, whether you're breathing structured air, instantaneous hydration.
right. So the water can get where it needs to go. So you're more hydrated on a cellular level instead of just when you're drinking that structured water, right?
Right, right. So there's a lot of misinterpretations in this industry in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of mechanics or whatever you want to call investigators have come to the understanding that hydrogen is important. So you have a lot of technologies out there now creating hydrogen water, hydrogen drops, hydrogen this, hydrogen that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to warn you and everyone that if you put too much hydrogen in the system, you're going to have adversarial conditions, severe adversarial conditions.
You're talking about like the molecular hydrogen machines or the machine like the holy hydrogen, those kinds of things?
I'm talking about anything that introduces more hydrogen into your system than is a balanced normal.
Okay.
So I have a question then. Is it okay to use those things, you think, or is it like a never in your opinion? Or is it like because maybe we're lacking, or I don't know, I'm curious.
This is where, as a human being, you really need to be in tune
Yeah.
with yourself
Mm-hmm.
and the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my attunement? Oh, somewhere. I have incorporated a council.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've done throughout my life, I mean, I originated on a farm in Minnesota.
Oh, nice.
Uh, my family, my dad, everything is common sense. If you don't have common sense, you don't last long on a farm, especially big farms, where the guy in the seat of a tractor can't see the ground. If you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, anyway, it, it's just part of the complications of technology. Anyway, I rely on a council. And I picked this up in a sense because I was in Vietnam. I was in Vietnam 58 years ago. And I still have, I don't anymore, but I did have up until this year remnants from that time. Back in that time, uh, I discovered that war creates bullets and bombs, and they're a lot faster than tractors.
Yeah.
You need to be instantaneously in tune. In fact, you need to be in tune ahead of what's happening.
Right.
You really need to be in tune. And I bumped into things that I was not fast enough. So I I faced things that I'm still dealing with. but
Yeah.
I have the answer to deal with it now, which I've been growing with all through my research time. So I have a council. This is a pendulum. Can you see it?
Yep.
Do you
Yes.
know what it is? It's
I
a
do.
wine cork on a piece of
Wine cork. Okay, perfect. That would work.
okay.
Love it.
So just to give you a clue about it, I mean, show me a yes, show me a no.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I've done that too. It's like pretty cool. Yeah.
So when you ask, are you taking extra hydrogen in your water?
No, I don't actually put extra hydrogen in my water, but I know a lot of people who do, so I'm curious. Yeah.
So is extra hydrogen in a human being's best interest? No.
Mm.
You see, the pendulum stuttered there for a while, but the choice is no.
Yeah.
Anything you ask this, it's going to give you the truth. So I can point to pictures when I get my computer screen up and I go online, and when people say, would this be good for me? I don't even have to point to a picture anymore. I can just ask.
Can you tell people, because they might not know about pendulums and testing, and it's kind of like sway testing and muscle testing, it's kind of similar. Can you talk a little bit about how our field is interacting and why the energy is moving that? Maybe that would be helpful.
Okay, the field basically is the unified field.
Yes.
The unified field consists of everything that, since the beginning of time, that a person has created, has said, has thought. It's all in the unified field. There's not much other than and even in the quantum, from a quantum perspective of the quantum world, there are beings who are utilizing quantum technologies, and they're not necessarily here and now. I won't get into this unless you want to go there, but it is really, really complicated. And the majority of humans have no concept. So
that's where you're at now, it sounds like. So you have the devices, like I'll be installing the shower one today. People think of that as just sort of, this is good for my health. It's sequestering the impurities and whatnot. But what you're saying is your journey has been a very spiritually dense one, and you're talking now about the other dimensions, and that's where you're really immersed in right now. Is that right, Clayton?
true.
Okay.
However, that device could not have been created unless if I were not in truth.
I love that.
So when I created this latest technology, I created one about 20 years ago, and I also, along with it, created a company. Most people that know me know what that company is. And when I retired, my partner eliminated me.
Is that
And
Direct Action Technologies?
yes, they eliminated me and basically stopped paying my retirement and my royalties.
Ooh.
And if there's somebody from Natural Action listening to this podcast, I have a contract with Natural Action of 9% royalties. And someday I'm gonna claim that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or not.
So you had to kind of branch out on your own, it sounds like, in order to bring the products that you've developed to people who need them, want them.
Right. I'm a researcher. I mean, this has been my bailiwick uh, for all my life. And, and, uh, and research now is significantly easier than it was back when I thought it all had to be physical. It doesn't. So you can go any direction with this. Right now, I completed this technology, and actually Mark put it into market in November of 2023. And you have to remember that this technology, I actually created 5 years ago, better, 6 years now. It takes 3 or 4 years to actually take a concept from your thought pattern, from your brain, and create it into a physical form. And you have to work with engineers to do that. And unless you know the terminology to fabricate and to create things that don't fall apart with materials that work. You understand where I'm going here? It takes an engineer, it takes an educated man in that environment to take concepts from my brain, put them on paper, put them in
Yep.
2 dimension, and then 3 dimension takes time. And
Definitely.
and then engaging that into the physical world takes money and time.
Yes, truth
Well,
there.
that's just the practical aspects. Now we have the spiritual slash, energetic impacts. You're saying one of the reasons you haven't been, out there putting yourself out there all over the place and marketing like crazy is that there's considerations that you have insofar as how the power of this technology or the depth of this, how profound it is, impacts how people perceive it and how the information is. I don't know.
Absolutely. You are
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Tell me about that, if you're okay talking about that.
Well, getting things out, you have to, everything that structured water really represents is potentially could take away from what somebody else is doing. I mean, structured water is automatically soft water.
There goes the water softeners.
So you think about how big those companies are. Structured water is automatically uh, um, uh, neutralizes toxins.
So you don't need a reverse osmosis?
Well, there's a lot of things you won't need when we talk about toxins. Neutralizes toxins and hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are fuels, oils. It neutralizes toxins, hydrocarbons. It eliminates bacteria, virus, molds, and pathogens. Those four, those four are are alive, and structured water eliminates them. And it does that because when you structure your tap water or the lake water, if it's not already structured, if you structure it, what you're doing is you increase the water's oxygen level by about 25%. Because structuring neutralizes, or let's say awakens the water. It frees the water from its prison of memory. Water remembers everything it come in contact with or has passed by since it came out of nature. Nature's water is rain.
Mm-hmm.
So, so for water to be structured in nature, basically it's evaporation, atmosphere, structure, uh, attaching its liquid to a particle of dust to create a raindrop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that rain come back down to the earth. About back in my time, maybe about 80 years ago, maybe. Well, I don't know, 70, let's say maybe 70 years ago, water was perfect, coming down as rain.
Right. But now we've added so much toxicity to our water. And I'm curious if these water structuring devices can get rid of things like plastic, like microplastics and,
Yes,
birth
yes,
control or medications or all those kinds of things as well.
yes,
Mhm.
right.
Okay.
However, between the rain coming out of the atmosphere today, depending on where you are in the world, you might have 1 to 2 tons of carbon between you and the upper atmosphere. Tons of
Mhm.
carbon, acid.
Mhm.
Look at the acidic level of the ocean. Look at the acidic level of your local lake or even river. Our food supply, the living food supply is struggling to be alive.
Yes, this is true. Do you think then, sorry to interrupt you, Clayton, but so somebody does not need any filtering in their home system, they can just use a structuring device, but also I have a question, if you measure that, like with one of those little home meters, it measures the I forget what it's called, but the soluble level or something,
Yeah,
sediment. Does it
total
actually
dissolved solids.
thank you. Does it show in the meter or does it not show?
It shows it it shows or does not show.
That's what I was
Is
wondering.
it the memory of the solids still there? That's
Yeah,
what
what helps
Yeah,
us
the thing about it is the memory of the solids are still is in structuring. Structuring neutralizes the memory of everything that's toxic, adversarial, that's either toxic hydrocarbon. It erases the memory of everything that's bad for you, and it enhances the memory of everything that's good for you and makes it instantaneously available to your cellular level.
Mm.
Wait, so that means those particles are not in the water or they are, but they won't hurt us? Like help me understand like I'm,
The
12.
particles go out your elimination system. Everything you eat and everything you drink goes out your elimination system.
Mhm.
If it doesn't, your system is in serious problem. It has that happens in your colon, right? Taking the food you eat, digesting it in your stomach, going through your intestines, in your colon, and and removing the energy of the food you eat and drink,
Mhm.
that energy riding on a water molecule or in your blood to every cell in your body.
Mhm.
Okay.
Energy, just energy. Your cells cannot receive anything but energy, cannot receive anything physical or electrical, only energy. A structured water molecule has a capacity of carrying 440,000 bits of energy, basically frequencies.
That's a lot.
My structured water creates hexagonal water, 6 water molecules in a cluster.
Mhm.
If you live in a city, the city's water source may very well have from 40 to 60,000 water molecules in a cluster. And if you consider at your cellular level, your cells can only receive one water molecule at a time.
Hmm.
How do you get from 60,000 down to one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you drink water. Your physiology is structured. You can't be alive if it weren't. And so the blood and your physical body converts the water you drink, the food you eat,
Back to structured.
back to structure.
Right.
It has to be structured to be in order to enter through the cell wall.
I've heard that described as turning it from a positive charge back to a negative charge. Is that correct way to say it also?
Yeah. The only problem is with positive and negative is there's so many things that the consideration of negative is bad and positive is good.
We run on negative charge, so it actually negative is good, right? So that's kind of confusing, I think. But yes, that term is
If you
confusing.
if you can stay if you can stay at those levels
Right.
and don't let your audience or whoever fall back into negative is bad,
Yeah.
because basically oxygen are
Mm-hmm.
negative ions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and hydrogen is positive ion. So everything that exists really needs to have both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
It needs that dichotomy, it needs that difference in order to be able to measure it.
Mm-hmm.
Your system needs to be in balance.
Right.
When you consider excess hydrogen in your system, and then you go back to digesting food, your digestive system needs to be acidic.
Absolutely.
6.4.
Mm-hmm.
One micro point, one direction or the other, things get complicatedly bad. And if you look around, look at, well, obesity.
Yeah.
Basically, when your body is seeing that things uh, are wrong, it starts collecting. It will start collecting water as fat if it can't digest the water.
Oh, that's an interesting concept that I haven't heard. That makes a lot of sense, though.
So your brain stores water as fat if it can't get enough water into the system.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's
That's
complicated.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I have two things I'm thinking about. I'm wondering if people can rely on their thirst mechanisms to know how much water to drink, or if that's altered
I
due to
reckon
toxic things that they're drinking. Like if they're drinking toxic water or an unstructured water, can they actually rely on their thirst to know if that's right or wrong? And then I also wanted to ask you about alkaline water because people love alkaline water. And I think that
how
if
much water should the average person consume per hour? 4 ounces.
Mm.
So if you drink 4 ounces of water every hour, we get busy. I haven't drank water since this morning, since maybe 7 o'clock this morning.
Mm.
But I drink about 3.5 liters of water. Basically, I I drink more water more than 4 ounces. If you if you think about 4 ounces an hour, in 10 hours, that's 40 ounces. A
Mhm.
quart is 32 ounces,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So uh, So if you drink, and if you're awake 16 hours, a lot of people maybe 20 hours. 20 hours or 4 hours of sleep can't do that very long, but depends upon what you're doing, what you're accomplishing. In my work environment, when I was your age, younger, I slept maybe 15 minutes a day.
Oh my goodness.
What? How did you do that? How did you
can you
survive that?
survive on 15 minutes of
You
sleep?
develop, you go into a systematic change of adjusting REM time. You need you need a REM time every 90 minutes, every hour and a half.
Right.
So when you determine your REM time, then you start adjusting it down.
Well, obviously it hasn't compromised your quality of life. You're going to be 90 in 4 years. You look amazing. You're
You're great.
sharp as a
Yes,
tack. I
Your
mean,
brain is obviously working very well, so you're doing good. That's
that's
structured water.
that's because every time that I get a kink or let's say a pain, I have mechanisms in order to instantaneously fix it.
Ooh, what is the instant
And
fix now? Now we never
and
know that
and
secret.
or I command that area of my body to be at the cellular level be that of a 27-year-old healthy, vibrant man.
is this part of your save technique?
It could be. A save technique basically um, opens you up to releasing uh, the stuff. Primarily was designed to release the stuff in your being held in your subconscious.
Ooh, this
If
is
you had a traffic accident the 4th of April at 10 a.m. last year, the 4th of April at 10 a.m. this year, your subconscious will activate the potential for another accident. Sorry about the phone.
that's all right.
Wow, there's so much here to
Will
unpack. That's
act
on your website.
your subconscious will activate another accident, identical time and date.
So the patterns keep repeating themselves.
Right.
Yeah. I always feel like
You
the
know,
patterns repeat themselves until you learn the lesson that you're meant to learn.
that and that too.
Yeah.
Yes. But it goes beyond that. You know, your subconscious remembers forever. Your
Yeah.
subconscious remembers your diseases. This is one of the things we found with SAVE, that if you can get past if you can eradicate it from your subconscious, it no longer exists in your physiology.
Do you teach how to do that?
It's simple. Just do SAVE.
What does SAVE stand for? Can we answer that?
SAVE stands for Structured Activated Voice Energetics.
Okay.
Structured Activated Voice Energetics. It's basically speaking to yourself.
Okay.
But back at that time, we were looking for ways to utilize the portable, the handheld. And we found that if we held the portable up to your ear and spoke words of correction, that the correction occurred. And so, but in research, I have found that you no longer need the portable up to your ear because your voice is perfect. Your voice is what we call analog. Musical instruments, playing a piano, guitar, any instrument is analog music. Analog is good for you, healthy, right? So people still go to symphonies, they go to operas. They're listening to live music. When you play a guitar, live music, piano, live music.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the ancient artists in music realized the value of certain notes
Yes.
and their qualities.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to places like India, Pakistan, where people practice the art of, say, healing bones with just an intonation of various notes.
Well, there's interaction there with the sound frequencies in the water
Yes.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. What water does is water opens us up to be enabling every cell in our body to receive.
Because it's the information carrier, is what I was going to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So basically, before you would do save or anything that you're bringing into play in order to repair certain conditions in your body, even medicine. I don't care what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be hydrated.
Yes.
If you're not hydrated, 99% of what you consume goes in the toilet.
Yes.
That's
I
true
bet.
with vitamins, it's true with supplements, it's true with medication. It just does not work unless your physiology is open and receptive to the unlimited good and abundance that water brings to you in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other element that is really, really essential in your physiology being attuned to correct, to change, is structured air.
Tell us
Mm-hmm.
about that. How is that different from plasma or ether? Or is that the same
Well,
thing?
structured air, basically, you structure the air by breathing through your nose.
Mm.
Yes. I just
So,
heard recently that when you breathe in, you're actually breathing in negative electrons. Like you're breathing that in. Is that true?
yes, you're breathing in the electrons that are appropriate for. Okay, basically, so your your right nostril spins the air to the left. Your left nostril spins the air to the right.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the vortex. You're changing the molecular structure of the hydrogen in the air you're breathing, and thereby correcting every element that's within the air you're breathing. So left spin is feminine,
Mm-hmm.
creation energy. Right spin is masculine, disruptive destruction energy. You need the two to be perfectly balanced.
Like a yin and a yang.
You know and so let's go back to save. Save is simple dialogue.
Mm.
You don't need anything special. You don't need anything in your ear. You just need to be present, and you need to have your physiology be open and receptive to change, to correction.
Right.
Initially, save is to eradicate something from your subconscious. And basically, that's what it does. So, structured activated voice energetics is simply, do we have any issues? I don't have many anymore, but but I use when I'm demonstrating save. Uh, I'll tell you one. I had a lady recently sitting across the table from me, and she had PTSD, and
Mm.
she was a Marine, and they discharged her because the medical profession could not fix her PTSD. They turned her loose, still with PTSD.
Yeah.
And we fixed her PTSD in about well, let's say 5 minutes because of the explanations it takes to understand this. So repeat after, for a person who, and you may not have PTSD, but then again, you might have. PTSD is a complicated issue,
Mm-hmm.
extremely complicated issue. I had PTSD, and my PTSD is primarily cellular, not in my brain, not in my subconscious, but in certain aspects of my body that were traumatized during war.
Mm-hmm.
So simply, the words are, I'm okay with PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Say it.
I'm okay with PTSD.
Okay with PTSD.
Could you use that for like something else? Like I'm okay with migraines. I'm okay with,
Yes, everything. I'm just giving you as an example here.
right. Would you use those same terms? I'm okay with IBS, right? If that was your
Right.
condition.
I'm okay with my ex-husband. I'm okay with my ex-boyfriend. I'm okay with my children. And if you do them by name, what you do is you release them to go about their lives without trying to drag you down with them.
It's almost like releasing the resistance, right? Because people are like, oh, I have constipation, and they're so frustrated with it, and they're trying
Right.
to fix it, and they're fighting against it, right? So it's like if you say, I'm okay with constipation, and
Right.
it's no longer a problem, and then you're not fighting, and then you're not having this
Right.
resistance anymore.
Right. I'm okay with stubbing my toe.
Yeah.
I'm okay with bumping into the doorway, which I do periodically. I'm okay. Okay.
Yeah. I
I'm
like it.
okay with cancer. I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with high blood pressure.
Yeah.
I'm okay with PTSD. PTSD is okay with me.
Mm-hmm.
People need to repeat these things. They need to repeat them to themselves, utilizing their own voice.
Mm-hmm.
Their voice is analog, healthy, vibrant,
Mm-hmm.
freeing, perfect.
But it also impacts the emotional energy that we're carrying and generating around the thought, the perception and the thought and the meaning we assign to our experience, so that the emotions are then going to exacerbate the issue, the
Right.
symptom.
The
The
next the
fear.
next phrase is I'm o I'm okay. Let's see. I release all emotions and feelings around PTSD. PTSD releases all emotions and feelings around me. So those
You could put
emotions
in
and
another
feelings,
diagnosis, right? You put in anything with that, Yeah.
anything, but you need to release the emotions and feelings around it.
Yeah.
I love PTSD. PTSD loves me, and you must love it.
Wow. That's so powerful.
I release all connections, associations, and generations around PTSD. PTSD releases all connections, associations, and generations around me. I now let go and let God. I let PTS go and let God handle it.
So simple, but so profound. It's all on his website, everybody. It's all on the website.
I wrote it down because I think it's powerful. It really is. I think so many of us are trying to, like I said before, fight against it, and it creates more resistance, and that is not going to ever be healing.
If you never bring it up again, it does not exist.
Yeah,
It's
Mhm.
that
that's true.
simple.
Yeah, and what we focus on grows, right? If you're focused on
Right.
the fixing of it,
If you keep repeating it, which many people do, it's kind of their credential when they get into a group, they repeat the issues that they have,
and they
and they're
become it.
making them grow.
They become it. I have diabetes.
Right, exactly. Maybe.
It's like not only I have that, I am diabetes now. I am
Right,
cancer. Like I am these things because
right,
like no.
right.
Yeah. I love this. Yeah.
And save doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine if people just did those kinds of things, right?
Right.
How healing that would be to the whole quantum collective.
Right.
Hmm.
But there are a lot of organizations that are going to wish that this was not on your podcast.
That's okay. We're gonna put it out there anyway. So,
I'm just saying,
I know.
I'm just saying,
yeah,
it
I hear
just,
you. But we cannot stay stuck. The system is broken and we need a reframe. And that's what part of our podcast, I mean, that is what our podcast is about, right? We need people to know these things so they can get out of these systems and not need these systems anymore.
right,
And there are, okay, there are medical emergencies and things that sometimes we do need the system for. So I'm not completely against the system in all ways, but on the regular and especially with chronic health issues, it's not really being supportive.
right, right.
So Vanessa, you wanted to ask about alkaline
Oh,
water.
I did. I brought up the alkaline, right? So what are your thoughts about drinking alkaline water? Because I know a lot of people will go to that. And if our body needs to be super acidic, right, to digest and absorb nutrients, it makes me think that that probably is not a great idea.
It's not a great idea.
No.
Alkaline water, alkaline water is a positive pH alkaline.
Mm.
Uh,
The positive meaning not a good thing.
uh,
That's
and
what's confusing.
and uh, acidic water is not a good thing.
No.
Okay, so but again, if you consider the majority of humanity is hooked on acidic water,
Yeah.
carbon is acid,
Yeah.
pure and simple.
Yeah.
Acid in virtually all of your soft drink, all of the drinks are carbonated.
Yeah. Ooh.
They contain acid, and that acid is difficult for your body to navigate.
1,000,000%.
This includes alcohol.
Alcohol, no, not really.
Hmm.
Alcohol, uh, alcohol is a combination of grains and it's a combination of energies.
Mm.
You know, if you consider 1 ounce of whiskey, for instance, it it its origin is grains, wheat, various grains, right,
Hmm.
to create whiskey. Um, 1 ounce of whiskey probably has um, over 250,000 frequencies. 1 ounce of, I like Canadian Club, which is a blended whiskey. So how many frequencies are in 1 ounce of Canadian Club? Over 250,000, over 500,000, over a million? No,
Mm.
around 500,000, I would say.
Um,
Where do you find food? I mean, if you go to the grocery store and you buy an apple, that apple is picked 15 days prior to being then prior to the sun being able to ripen it.
Yeah.
How many frequencies are there in the general apple on a grocery store shelf?
I feel like it's dead.
25?
Yeah. Opposed to the one that you picked it right off
More
the,
than 25?
yeah, if you picked it right off of the orchard, that's a totally
Right.
different thing.
You pick it right off the tree, ripe,
Hmm.
250,000 frequencies
Can
compared to
you
25.
I have we had somebody else who does structuring water devices on our podcast once before, and he said that you can entrain the fruit back if you soak
Yes,
it
you
in
can.
structured water.
You can.
So I'm actually doing that right now. I have an onion soaking and two squashes, delicate squashes, that because squash has been sitting on my counter for a really long time.
Basically, if you structure water, put it in a spray bottle, everything you spray is structured.
Spray. I need to get a
You can
spray
spray
bottle.
your lettuce, the salad that you get in a restaurant. You just spray the top of it. And an example, uh,
Wow.
an example would be you want to change something that you can actually see, feel, and experience the change. Take uh, pour a glass of structured water
Hmm.
through one of your devices. Pour a glass.
Hmm.
Walk out to your car. Set the glass down. Get behind the wheel. Start the engine of your car.
Hmm.
Pop the hood
Hmm.
and walk around and smell your exhaust. Your exhaust is poison, difficult to stand in,
Hmm.
or kneel down and smell,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Go back and open your hood. Off to the right side of your radiator is a plastic tank with a plastic lid. Unscrew the lid, pour that glass of water in there, put the lid back on, slam the hood, and go back and smell your exhaust.
Wow. That's an
What you do? Is that what you
Your
do?
your exhaust is sweet. You can stand in it all day. Non-toxic. Does
Wow.
I have a
not matter the engine. It can be diesel. It can be gas.
wow, that's
What,
pretty interesting. I
what
want to
that glass of water is doing is making every uh, um, everything in your vehicle perfect,
Wow.
healthy,
should probably do
including
it.
the gasoline in the gas tank.
I have a
Your
question.
your
I-
car will run for a very, very long time until it physically wears out.
Pretty amazing. All right, everybody, there's a good tip for your car's health.
And and for the first 200 miles after you do that, you'll get a 30% increase in gas mileage
Wow.
until your computer kicks in and says, no, 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 that's not possible.
Clayton, I have a question. Is there any kind of like, I don't know, I guess the term would be like off gassing that needs to happen. So say you drink take one of your devices and you put it on your house, right? And get the water and drink the water, go to drink the water. Do you have to wait? Is there any like time that this takes for this to happen, or is it immediate? Was my question.
It's immediate,
Okay.
instantaneously.
Okay.
The
Perfect.
only thing about waiting potentially would be if you're drawing water from the ground,
Mm. Okay, like a well.
like a well. If you're drawing water from the ground, basically groundwater
Hmm.
needs to breathe like a fine wine in order to be healthy water.
Okay. And how long would that be? Just for
Not long, just to, it needs to be, needs to address air.
okay. So minutes, like it would be pretty like
Yeah, it could be in that you're pouring the water in a glass and that may be
okay.
that that would be sufficient, not perfect.
Okay.
It would probably be better to put it into a tank,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then let that tank, the air with that tank breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know what the water is breathing in?
I
Do you have
do.
any idea what's in the air
The energy in the air.
Hydrogen? Hydrogen?
does not exist in the groundwater?
Is it hydrogen again? No.
It's
Oxygen? I don't know.
Oxygen.
it is the noble gases.
Oh.
No one's going to say that to you.
No,
No,
we'd never know that one.
you have to be a quantum physicist to know noble
Well,
gases.
now I do though. So now, and I wrote it down. Uh,
Noble gases, if you take a if you get a periodic table,
uh-huh.
noble gases are the gases that are on all the way to the right edge of the periodic table.
Mhm.
They consist of, I think there's 6 of them now, because there have been some elements that have been found.
Mhm,
But hydrogen is over there.
mhm.
I think neon, uh, radon, I don't remember. I've got them written down someplace.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about your health practices. Like, obviously, you're doing your own devices for water. Do you do anything else to your water? Do you like put them in a copper? Do you put them in a blue bottle? Do you put them in the moonlight? Like, what are you doing to support your health? You're so robust at your age. How do you do this?
Oh, I back when I first started, or I first um, had the opportunity to reaccomplish a structured water technology advanced over the 20 some years or of the prior NAT one. Um, I um, I started asking friends, people around the world, uh, to uh, to send me their cache of
Hmm.
frequencies that support life now and forevermore, now and in the future.
Mhm.
And so I acquired them, and I happen to have a computer that's capable of holding on to them. And so uh, what I do is with these frequencies, and I don't say the number. The human brain is troubled going beyond certain numbers. I just say that my technology contains all the frequencies to needed to support life now and forevermore. But the last number that I counted, and you can do this yourself if you do a pendulum,
Mhm,
you have a structured unit,
mhm,
ask how many frequencies are are that you how many frequencies can this unit deliver to the water passing through it.
mhm.
The last number that I came that was a number was 10 to the 54th power.
Wow, that's a big number.
I think it's somewhere around 6 million quadrillion.
So
Maybe.
your diet is that your health is frequency. It's all frequency. You probably don't even worry that much about what you eat, I'm guessing.
You know, yeah, though I do, because my physiology still requires food.
Which is a frequency as well.
All food has frequency.
Mhm,
Everything physical has frequency.
mhm,
The majority of things that I deal with that don't have frequencies and you deal with that don't have frequencies is your thoughts,
mhm,
is your dreams, uh,
mm,
your your prayers.
mm.
Your prayers are not they are non-Hertzian. That means they don't have a frequency. They don't have
I
a
didn't know that.
variable.
Mm,
Your prayer or your voice Your voice has a frequency, but your prayer doesn't, your brain. Or the other thing that doesn't have a frequency is the energy that allows your cellular level to communicate with your brain. That's in our terminology is chi.
Right.
So you practice Tai Chi when you when you're exercising, you're creating chi in your body. There's about 30 different names for that. If you're in India, it's prana. If you're in Japan, it's ki.
If you're a homeopath, it's your vital force. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of difference.
Homeopath. In my technology, it's biophoton energy,
Yeah.
biophoton field effect, how far the energy goes and what it changes in its path.
Yeah.
So with energy, you can grow a strawberry plant in a pot and just water that strawberry plant with structured water. And for miles, every strawberry plant will grow equally to the one in the pot.
Wow.
Now, we're talking about things that you have to, uh, uh, I did acquire back when my first technology, a farm in California that had strawberries. And they had an area of their field that the grocery stores would never take because the food value was too low. Food value measured in bricks, BRIX, measured with a refractometer that you can buy online for 25 bucks maybe. You can take the juice of your apple or your orange or the grapes that you're just about to harvest. I mean, the refractometer is used uh, for a for a person to go out and find food for the grocery store. So this field, they had an area that the bricks was 4.4 or 4.5, and the grocery store would only accept it at 8. They put structured water in 48 hours. They measured it, and it was over 8, and they were happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So this could be used not only for obviously for human health, but it also is used for our plants and animals and all things, right? It's not just for us. For everything. Everything needs the structured water.
So I've spent virtually millions donating product to farmers who are
Nice.
going to give me feedback.
Well, that's beautiful though.
That's a beautiful thought. However, white men don't want to share when something is working for them. They don't want to share.
That makes me sad.
The only people that share are people like Mennonites and Hutterites and Amish. They share.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where do we go, Vanessa? This is just like so rich, so
Yeah.
fascinating, so enlightening. And I'm just still thinking about and savoring like the metaphysical aspects of the water and your counsel and
Yeah.
like
And
how,
and and this can be an ongoing thing. I mean, to me, it's a never-ending story. Though I say the same things over and over and over thousands of times because the human development is pretty narrow. It's
well,
okay.
I'm appreciating how, and I think I found you, somebody made a comment on a Facebook post. I don't remember what I was looking at, what I was looking for, but they recommended you, and I'd never heard of you. And in the quantum biology world, it's becoming now more popular to have structured water devices and all these things, vortexers, and but I'm appreciating how for you it's really not necessarily about making sure that you're selling enough product. It's a spiritual service that you're offering, which to me is just like
Definitely, I
amazing.
feel that.
I'm so glad that I have your devices. I'm installing this today after the podcast in my shower, and I have yours under the sink one that I just put in last week. So really grateful.
Good for you, Heather. I'm excited for you.
Mhm.
Getting all
Thank
those
you.
billions of frequencies.
It is not about sales, though it is to get the product out to the world.
Right.
Right.
Uh, my one of the things that happened, um, and it happened through. I was working with a farm in South Dakota, and primarily turkeys, and the administrator of this farm came to me because somebody advised him that I may have a solution for them. But
Mhm.
in 2022 and 21, they lost all their turkeys due to bird flu,
Mhm.
and uh, and subsequently they lost $15 million because they grow a lot of turkeys. Anyway, uh, so he came to me in 2023. I had a few units left over from uh, my original company, and I had some prototypes of my new company,
Mhm.
and we fixed his problem in 2023. So
Wow.
when the investigators came, government, uh, uh, checking the turkeys, they found no bird flu.
Mhm.
So they made money.
Mhm.
In 2024, about later in the year, I was looking at some of the documentation being generated about bird flu. And bird flu, the intensity, or let's say the virus or the toxin, the virus had increased significantly in its level of intensity. And I called them and said, we may need to readdress how much energy your units are delivering to your birds.
Mhm.
And of course, the comment with most farms is it's working. Why try to fix it? Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
In December, first week in December of 24, the investigators came, and I want to make this statement. When they came in 21 and 22, they were just a couple of guys, and they take a blood sample from the turkeys. And they just go in and, take a blood sample.
Mhm.
I don't know if they take anything else, but I'm sure they do it by a blood sample.
Mhm.
And they were just like you and me. They went into the barns, took a blood sample. All they need is one turkey to be found with bird flu,
Right.
and they condemn all the turkeys, millions of turkeys, condemn them.
Yeah.
And these turkeys they weren't matured. They were relatively, I don't know exactly where they were in the scheme of things,
Mhm.
but all the turkeys has to be destroyed. So now we worked on what he needed to do in order to ensure the next batch of turkeys are safe.
Yeah.
And so we increased the biophoton energy, the biophoton field energy, by increasing the length of time that the water goes through structuring. And so it stimulated a bigger units, longer units, creating more energy. And and so a lot of homes, I have now I have 3 house units. House unit, the standard house unit, and that's what they had on. They had 6 barns with standard house units in the water line.
Mhm.
And we increased that by adding about 3 more house units to each barn, increasing the biophoton energy sufficient to protect them for at least 3 to 5 years
Mhm.
in the future.
So there's really no excuse and no need for when I go to the grocery store and literally where I'm living, the eggshells are empty.
Yeah, that's been an issue too. In fact, I buy from an Amish farm actually, and they've even had limited amounts. Like you can only get 3 dozen eggs now, instead of you could usually, used to be you'd be able to get 12 dozen, in a shipment. Now, then it was 6 dozen, then it was 3 dozen. Um, you know,
So bird flu goes for turkeys, chickens,
oh
virtually
yeah,
every.
all the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I have a organization in Canada growing ostriches, and they're trying to condemn the ostriches.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's complicated.
But we get things like this out into the world, your devices, right? Then,
Right, right.
then
I'm working with a hog farm now in South Dakota,
nice.
uh, and this guy has 12,000 hogs.
Wow.
Anyway, so he's anxious to get structured water in. Uh, every animal, especially in mass, when they're all glommed together, uh,
Yeah.
conditions, it's the same thing happens to humans if they're too tightly wrapped together, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, bird flu is bird flu primarily comes out of Canada, and it's carried by the birds that flock, which are geese, and and they lose feathers, and those feathers contain that hard to say,
Yeah. It's okay.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to say, 2022, 21 and 22, just guys came and took the blood and diagnosed them with bird flu. In 2024, however, those investigators came and they were wearing hazmat suits and respirators.
Mm.
Why? Because they've found bird flu in humans.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm. Well, we can help a lot of people and animals with
Yeah,
structured water. So,
hey, exactly.
yeah.
We have the answer.
Yeah. Well, this has been amazing. I know we're getting close on time here, and we really appreciate you coming on and sharing all your wisdom and your knowledge with our audience. And we'll definitely link, where people can find your devices in the show notes for everybody so they can learn about your work and learn about you and your devices and how they can get them into their own homes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any parting words of wisdom, anything you want to leave us with
Yeah.
to enrich
Uh,
our lives?
keep up the good work.
Oh, you
Thank you.
too.
And if any part of this that I've delivered to you is way over your head or way beyond what you want to deliver, I'm okay with you deleting it.
Oh, I don't
Oh
think
no, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah. That won't happen.
We don't delete, we keep it all.
uh, other podcasters, they always want what more is possible, what more, and one of my first ones I did was talking about structured air and the qualities of life that structured air bring, so it's another potential.
Yes.
Yes. Well,
What
we
I'm working on right now is uh, the elements of well-being.
yeah, nice.
And what I'm delivering from this perspective is free, basically. It's things that belong to you,
Yeah.
and I'll leave you with this one. If you have pain anywhere in your body, the color red, you place it in the palm of your left hand, right here,
Okay.
palm of left hand, right there in the center.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a piece of paper, it can be a shirt, it can be a coffee cup, it can be anything, but within the color red are the elements to eliminate pain. Yes.
Okay.
2 minutes. No matter where the pain is or how intense it is, the pain will be gone.
That's a great tip.
And the elements that make up red are actually repairing the tissue and the uh, the creation of the pain. Pain is caused by swelling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can have bullet holes basically in your body, and if you can eliminate the swelling and remove the lead, your body will heal really, really fast.
Yeah.
And especially if you have the color red.
Wow, I love that.
Awesome. That was a great parting tip. We love it. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on and sharing all your wisdom with our audience. And yeah, maybe we'll have to have you back again if possible.
I would love that.
Anytime.
Let's have you back
Amazing.
on to talk about structured air and
Yeah,
then
let's do
things-
air next
more
time. That would
things like
be
that.
so cool.
Okay.
We
All right.
appreciate
Sounds
it.
good.
Thank you
All right.
so much,
Thank
Clayton.
you.
Yep.